Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right, thank you everyone for being here. I know we're getting a little bit of a late start, but we had a line out the door and we didn't want to start the meeting while we still had a lot of people showing up. So I appreciate everyone coming to the December Northern California chapter of APCO meeting. Great to see everyone here. Before we get too far along in the agenda, there are some open seats available. Before we get too far along, I did want to start things off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, well, thanks again, and welcome to CHP headquarters. Special thanks to Ken and Cassandra for setting things up and hosting us today. We truly appreciate you guys doing this every year for our annual December meeting. Special thanks as well. We do have a Southern California APCO representative, Steve Goodwin from Anaheim PD. Thank you for being here, Steve. Some logistical things. Bathrooms are around the corner to your left down the hall. For the agenda today, we'll be getting through committee reports shortly after introductions. After that, we will hear from E.F. Johnson, our commercial sponsor. We should have time for a quick networking break. Then we'll go into our keynote speech with Chuck Schuler from Sacramento Regional Fire, providing a presentation called Boats, Bulldozers, and Fire, covering his experience in wildland fire communications in 2025. Then we will announce the annual voting results of the new officers. Steve will conduct our oath of office ceremony, and then we'll pivot right into lunch and door prizes. Speaking of door prizes, if you guys saw the Meta VR goggles up there, that is our grand door prize. This is our second time doing the annual grand door prize. So as many meetings as you attended this year, that's how many times your name is in that drawing. So we'll spin the wheel. You have to be present to win for that. So if you've been here for 4 hours, don't leave right before we're going to spin that wheel. So, and then there is not frequency coordination today with all of the slowdowns at the FCC. There were no significant applications that came through. However, I believe we'll still host a operations roundtable discussion for anyone interested in that. That'll be after lunch. So that's the agenda for the day. We will go through introductions. So if you're with a commercial industry partner, please take a minute to tell us about your product, your solution, and how you can help the public safety community. So my name is Carl Grover. I'm the current president of the chapter. I'm with the City of Roseville IT department. So we'll just pass around and get through. Yes, Ken. Oh,
yeah. Hi, thank you everybody for coming. Welcome. I just want to let everyone know, as you leave, if you could drop your badges off in the very back. Cassandra, she has her hand up. Otherwise, CHP might show up at your home. So just a heads up. All right, thank you everybody. Bye.
And do they need to be escorted out? Once?
Yes. Nice. And I'm sorry, once you turn in your badges, you will need to be escorted out. The doors here on the left and the middle, they do not open. They will set off an alarm. Your only exit is the door you came in, but we will need to escort you out because the other doors are locked. Okay.
All right, thank you, Ken. All right, introductions.
I'm Paul Reese with the City of Roseville. Carl is my supervisor. I'm an IT analyst. I support the radio system.
Mike McKenzie, River Delta Fire.
Tad Sua, Sacramento Fire.
Chuck Schuler, Sacramento Regional Fire, and telecommunications engineer, and you guys will hear more from me later.
I'm Trent Hogger. I'm moral support for Chuck Schuler, so that's about it.
Jeff Davis, Contra Costa Fire.
Kent McNabb with Oakland Police Communications Center.
Bernard Louis, Oakland Police Dispatch.
Ken Harris, California Highway Patrol Telecommunications.
Rudy Torres, Regional Director, E.F. Johnson, JVC Kenwood for Public Safety Communications.
My name is Colby Matheson with Task Force. I am based in San Diego. Task Force is a technical distributor of LMR equipment. So I know I've worked with a lot of you, but we sell radio test equipment and spectrum analyzers, but we also are technical. So if you ever have training needs or information on technical advice, we have Bird and Ritsu, Viavi, interference hunting with SMS, and PCTEL for indoor mapping.
Susie Rivera, Folsom Police, retired.
Shelley McMahon, Cal OES, also part of your board of directors.
Yeah, Michael Elder with Cal OES, Next Gen 911 Manager.
Daniel Hess, Sac Regional Fire.
Catherine Shelton, Training Manager, Sac Regional Fire.
Tara Poirier, EMS, Sac Regional Fire.
Brad Dorsett, Sac Regional Fire, IT.
Roman Kukards, Sacramento Regional Fire.
J.D. Clark, Public Safety Innovations.
John Aurelius, Public Safety Innovation. We design, sell, maintain the mobile command centers and specialty vehicles as well as radio systems, along with J.D. Clark sitting next to me.
Good morning and happy holidays from California Department of Fish and Wildlife. I'm John Chapman, Telecom Manager.
Good morning, Kathy Conley, Sutter Buttes Communications, full service two-way radio dealer, all major manufacturers, sales, service, rentals, installations.
Adam Call, County of Napa.
Good morning, Mike Lang on the T-Mobile Public Safety team.
Hi, Chris Memmott, Mark 43. We do cloud-based RMS and CAD.
Hi, everybody. Mike Larson with Motorola Solutions. I'm the account manager for the East San Francisco Bay Area and Napa County.
Gary Mitchell, El Dorado County Communications.
Kevin Persing, work for a company called Googly, and that's a shortened version of Marconi's first name. Anyway, I work for a company that actually manufactures in-building devices to connect to bidirectional amplifier systems to help mitigate the noise they make. And first time I've been on this side of the fence. Glad to be rejoining today. I got to say, things have been stepped up. The bagels were warm this morning.
Good morning. My name is Greg Glenn. I work for a company called Kumba Telecom. They do build signal boosters. I also have my own engineering firm and do a lot of interference mitigation. And I'm not going to go into a whole bunch this morning about what I do specifically, but I do want to remind everybody that the FCC has an open proceeding. They're rewriting the rules on how signal boosters are going to be used. And we're in reply comments due to the shutdown. I think the 15th, if I'm not mistaken, is the last day for reply comments. So anybody who has an interest in that subject and wants to see boosters hopefully be better, but be used, please do submit your comments. The FCC does appreciate it.
Christopher Sutter, Stockton Police Communications.
I'm Brandy Thomas, Stockton Police Communications Manager.
Good morning. I'm Iggy Brigado, Solutions Engineer with JPS. We're based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm based out of San Jose. We manufacture or design interoperability, communication interoperability products, RYP transport of that communications, as well as voter products. And we've just recently introduced 2.0 DFSI into our gateway, so now we can act as console proxies or base station proxies, or do both. So our gateways can act as their consoles or base stations. So thanks for having me here.
Good morning, Linda Biaggi, City of Stockton, IT Supervisor, EPMO Manager.
Good morning, Anna Trindad, Stockton Fire Communications Manager and your Chapter Vice President.
Good morning, Mandy Montalvo, Public Safety Communications Manager for the Elk Grove Police Department and a member of your Board of Directors.
Good morning, Brenda Bruner, Alameda County Sheriff's Office Dispatch Manager, retired. I'm one of your chapter members as a chapter historian. Thank you.
And David Dimmitt, Sacramento County Telecom.
Kurt Gary, Sacramento Telecom.
Gordon Bozeman, Sacramento County Telecom. Merry Christmas.
Good morning, everybody. Dan Marcus, RGB Spectrum. We are a audiovisual hardware manufacturer in Alameda focused on command and control technology for operators and for front of room and video wall concerns. Thank you.
Good morning, Eric Stewart with American Power Systems. We do DC power solutions for telecom, UPS, radio. If you need any backup power solutions, just let me know. Thank you.
Ford, County Marin Radio.
Marshall Briggs with County Marin Radio Communications.
Good morning. Miguel Nazario, and I'm here with the sales group.
Good morning. Happy holidays. Carlos Garcia, I'm with the sales group. We're coming down from SoCal, and I just want to say happy holidays. Thank you, CHP, for hosting. We are also a visualization and content collective equipment that's also partnered with RGB, but we help you catch bad guys on video walls, anything like that. I'm also helping out and volunteering on the SoCal Town and Country next year as exhibiting for exhibitors. So if any of you commercial partners out there that are looking to exhibit, please reach out to me. Come see me.
Hi there. Larry Weber, also with the sales group, and pleased to be here. And we also bring radio equipment to all our radio side vendors that are in the audience. We represent RFI, which makes probably the best antenna side antennas and filtering equipment available. They're a Motorola certified partner, and we just finished deploying our site monitor equipment at Solano County on their system, so it can now be checked out by all of you who want to see what we're doing just down the street. Thank you.
Cassandra McCants-Deaver, IT specialist for California Highway Patrol, and all the baked goods were made in-house. That's why they're warm and delicious.
I'm Steve Goodwin. I'm by Anaheim PD, and as of 6 days ago, the immediate past president for SoCal APCO.
Hey, good morning and happy holidays all. Mike Maricini with Motorola Northern California, and I'm going to head that direction right now.
Chris Chamberlain, Motorola, account rep for San Francisco, San Mateo, and Santa Clara counties.
Michael Procha, San Francisco Senior Communication Systems Technician, and also Frequency Advisor Alternate for NAPCO here.
Samuel Christensen, Epic Marketing. We are manufacturers representatives, most notably in this case for Kenwood E.F. Johnson.
Jeff Johnson, also with Epic Marketing. Like you said, Kenwood E.F. Johnson, and now ES Chat, which if you didn't know, Kenwood E.F. Johnson bought ES Chat. Also Pyramid Communications, and we're now the manufacturer's rep for Mindshare Dispatch. Thank you.
David Jones with E.F. Johnson, and also I believe your official co-chair, CCOM, for Northern California APCO.
Mohammed Rahman with the PSC CalOES Radio Engineering, mainly supporting CSP system, low band and simulcast, both STR and low band both. Thank you.
Manvir Sidhu, telecom engineer at PSC.
Pete Wilson for CalOES PSC CHP unit. I am the caretaker of low band, and looks like we're all done with roll call, so let the good times roll.
Jim Lencioni at the County of Placer, and your chapter PIO and interim executive council rep.
No, you're not on.
Is on. He's a troublemaker. Mike Beckstrand, Cal OES, and I am your president-elect and will soon be the chapter president here in a little while.
I'm Manny Vieira. I'm your CCAM, and thank you, David, for becoming the co-CCAM. We appreciate it, and for also being a part of the California State Conference next year. I'm also a member of the CAC, the Commercial Advisory Council for National NAPCO.
All right, thanks again, everyone, for being here and welcome. So we will get into our committee reports. First up, Anna with awards and recognition.
Good morning, everybody. Oh. All right, just a small update for our 2026 awards banquet. We have secured Oak Farm Vineyard in Lodi again for our venue. It will be May 7th, 2026, 6 p.m. And we officially have our first sponsor. So we'd like to thank EFJ Kenwood for their sponsorship. Award nominations will open following this meeting, right? Jim? Nominations opening this month. Keep your eye out for them. They will close February 1st. February 1st. So get them all in.
Thanks, Anna. Looking forward to that again. Manny, commercial activities.
Hello. This one's still on. Hi. I'm your CCAM, and I'm in charge of the monthly meetings for sponsorship. And I want to just announce today that we are completely sold out on all sponsorships for 2026. I'm taking reservations for 27. I know it's a long ways away, but our meetings are very important to our commercial people, and they recognize being a sponsor gets them in front of you. So I want to thank all our commercial sponsors for that. Kenwood, thank you for today. And next month, we'll be at the Jelly Belly Factory. And Googly will be our sponsor, so thank you for stepping up so soon. I wanted to finalize our California State Conference. We are completely finished finally with all the details. It was a very successful show. We had over 110 vendors, and it was very well attended, and most of the commercial people thought it was tremendous. So for those that missed it, next year we're having the California State Conference in San Diego, and at the counter there was a little flyer. Please take it. We're going to start reservations for the commercial people immediately. Is that correct? And online, so please go online as a commercial person and register for a booth. We have a pretty good sized room, so we should be able to handle as many as we had this year at the 25 conference. On the commercial side, my only other agenda from the CAC, which is the Commercial Advisory Council, is to talk about membership. Most of you here are members of NAPCO, and if you're not, if you're another chapter's member, it's just $50 more to become have a second chapter as your home chapter. And we always recommend that. We're at somewhere around 846 members in Northern California. So we just need 149 more and I can retire. So that's been the joke here. So we need 1,000, and I'd appreciate you letting everyone know in your agencies what we do and why it's important to maybe join NAPCO. And on the commercial side, if you're not a member of NAPCO, we highly recommend it. Starting next year, we're going to be charging more money for non-members to be a sponsor, because it's not fair for, I don't mean to pick on Motorola, but for Motorola to be a sponsor and pay all the money and someone else not be a member of NAPCO to attend our meetings. So to be somebody here. So moving forward, So please, as a commercial, if you're not a member of NAPCO, it's $50 more to be multi-chapter. So if you can be 10 states, it'd be $500 more for you, but it's probably worth it.
Thank you, Manny. Okay, next up, Jim for Executive Council and Public Relations.
All right, for PIO work first, remember we are streaming the meeting, so if you want if you're gonna say anything in the meeting here, it has to be said into one of the microphones or else they do not hear it online. You might have a loud booming voice, but it doesn't traverse the internet, sorry. For ECs this week, or this month, a couple visits by executive board members. They went to the Arkansas APCO conference, the Virginia APCO conference, the APCO Canada annual conference, the Atlantic APCO conference, all this month, and then they also visited the RCA Technical Symposium and Awards Banquet. Next year, I know we're trying to get them at the California APCO conference as well. For government relations, September 9th, APCO submitted a letter for the record on the importance of Next-Gen 911 and FirstNet as essential components for modern, resilient public safety and communications ecosystems. Oh, that's September, sorry. Oh, did I pull up the wrong one? No, that's right. Spectrum management, there it is. So for spectrum management, AFC technical classes are coming June 1st to the 12th of 2026. These are large, they've been advertising for a while. Now they have the content that they're gonna do for them. So the first class is the General Communications Technician, Level 1, focuses on the fundamentals of communication systems, including basic radio theory, system components, and safety practices. Then you have the General Communications Technician Level 2, which builds on the GCT1, with advanced topics such as system alignment, diagnostics, and maintenance procedures. Then they also have a third class, antenna line sweeping, provides hands-on instruction in testing, measurement, and analysis of transmission lines and antennas to ensure system performance and reliability. And then they also have a fourth class, which is interference mitigation, covers techniques to identify, locate, and resolve sources of radio frequency interference affecting public safety systems. So those are 4 huge classes they've just announced, push on the technical side of things to help in public safety radio communications networks. So these classes offer valuable opportunities for frequency coordinators, system engineers, technicians, and public safety communications personnel to enhance their technical expertise and maintain industry recognized proficiency. Details and registration on classes will be available and announced soon. You can always email them, and if you need that email, just come see me. For Intellicom, they gave an update. They have 3 new agencies that finalized contracts, 6 new software implementations were completed, and 5 print-only projects were completed for their Intellicom projects. They also said for ECC engagement, staffing, retention, and incident handling study. Formatting, first draft was now complete. It'll be released mid-January for the final draft, with the survey to finally launch in July of 2026. They'll probably release that survey in time for the APCO conference held next year in Texas. Then the retains toolkit updates. Phase 1 is almost complete. 1 outstanding item there. Phase 2 to begin shortly after that. For APCO Institute, the following standards received final ANSI approval and have been published. APCO NINA 1.107.2 2025, which is the standard for establishment of quality assurance and quality improvement program for emergency communication centers, and then 3.1033, the minimum training standard for public safety telecommunicators. In addition to those 2 standards, they've also moved a couple others for public review and comment, and that is core competencies and minimum training standards for public safety communicators, training coordinator, and the core competencies and minimum training for public safety communications quality assurance. Other than that, update on APCO 2026. 129 booths have been booked so far. That's 15% more than Baltimore last year, or this year, I guess. And more sponsorship opportunities now available. A 1-year growth in membership altogether. We went from November 1st, 2024 of 41,595 members through the association to November 1st of 2025 of 42,292. So a slight increase of about 700 individuals.
Thank you, Jim. Good stuff going on at the national level. Susie, next up with the membership report.
Good morning, everybody. As Manny said, we have 846 members. We are looking to get to 1,000 eventually, so tell your friends. And I'll give the results for the voting at noon.
Excellent. Thank you, Susie. Mandy, Operations Committee update. While Mandy's coming up, I'll quickly touch base on finance and budget. So as of the end of November, the chapter had $160,209.46. However, we do have about $30,000 in outstanding payments that will be made as part of the Cal APCO conference. So our current balance is roughly 30,000 below that, so 130,000 total.
Good morning. For everyone who attended the Cal APCO conference, we had a really great operational breakout session in the afternoon. Talked about a lot of things that are facing some of our centers, either technology-wise, staffing-wise, culture-wise, and things that are becoming on the horizon in the next few years. So we will have at our next meeting in January, we will have someone from the next gen side of things with the state who's going to come and talk and share some information about the new contracts and where things are going. So that'll be next month. And then today we will have another breakout kind of to talk about some of the things that are affecting our organizations individually or collectively. A lot of us go through the same things, so a little bit of a support group after lunch. All right, I'll cover the legislative update too. It's very short. With the government shutdown, a lot of things that we are kind of watching have been stalled where they're at. So we are watching a couple of House bills. Most of those are regarding where the FCC, how the FCC is going to enforce some of the rules that have been placed on 911 and how the network works. So we're just kind of waiting to see where those are at. They're stalled right now in committee. So hopefully after the first of the year, we'll have a little bit more of an update. Today? Yes. So after lunch, we'll have an operations breakout here for anyone who would like to stay. Okay.
All right, thank you, Mandy. That wraps up committee reports. We will move right into the presentation with E.F. Johnson Kenwood, and then we'll have a break before our keynote speech. So, Rudy?
Test. Hi, my name is Rudy Torres. I'm the Regional Director for Public Safety Communications for E.F. Johnson JVC Kenwood. Thank you for having me here. So last year I came to the NAPCO meeting and I explained our strength in compatibility with P25 trunking systems, and we've since expanded on that capability. We've now added a couple of more protocols to the radio. So now a Viking radio not only supports P25 trunking, but it also supports DMR, DMR Tier 2, NXDN, and soon we'll be supporting also NXDN trunking. And all these protocols can be scanned in the same zone. So it's a lot of capability now in the Viking radio. And because that wasn't enough, we're going to add one more. So a couple of months ago, E.F. Johnson, they announced that they're in the process of acquiring a company called ES Chat. Many people here are already customers of ES Chat, Cal OES being one of them. And what that does is it gives the capability of building the ES Chat P25 call control protocol that was previously only done in iOS and Android devices, and it's now built into the Viking radio, right? So it gives you the capability of mapping all your communications from the mobile app into the Viking radio. I was gonna have Mike come up and show us a little bit about how he's got it set up, just very quickly.
So I want to thank Kenwood for giving us a couple of radios to test on ES Chat. And so at Cal OAS, we have an ES Chat set up on our cache phones. So if you need push-to-talk capabilities, we have phones with ES Chat built into them. And because of the acquisition recently, we have ES Chat on the handheld. So testing 1, 2, 3. So testing 1, 2, 3. ES Chat by LMR radio. ES Chat by LMR radio.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Oh, Mariposa.
Very good.
My volunteers, and then I could go backwards.
Very good.
Thank you, everyone, for your test. And the first one that you heard is actually from my laptop. I have it on my laptop so I can monitor as well.
Thanks, Mike. So the innovation is really putting that call control into a public safety device. So now you have one device that does both LMR and has broadband capability in a public safety device. So basically, if you're a firefighter, you're going to run into your firefight with this, not with an iOS device of some sort. So that's the point. So basically, this is in general what we have set up. We have ES Chat now. The app is embedded in the Viking radio, and it allows you to transmit LMR and broadband in the same unit. And then the broadband connection to an LMR system is one of two ways. It's over ES Chat to ISSI or ES Chat gateway to ISSI, gateways such as JPS gateways. So this is the basic setup that we have today, and we'll be doing some demos back here afterward. I don't want to take too much time, but we'll do some demos afterward. But what I have here is my radio, and I have it kind of hotspotted to my mobile device, and then we're broadband connected to an ES Chat server. So what the radio is doing is building a VPN from the radio through a broadband connection to ES Chat, so that VPN is created automatically. And from ES Chat, you gateway yourself, either ISSI or some other type of gateway to an LMR device. So the demos we have today, I'm actually showing, I have an LMR device that I'm connected to in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And if you want to see how that works, we'll demonstrate it just after the presentation or during lunchtime. The other innovation of ES Chat is that it has two environments. There's the ES Chat cloud environment, and there's the ES Chat FedRAMP environment. And the FedRAMP environment is quite innovative and quite unique in that the federal government, in order to allow cloud-based services to be used by their agencies, they have to be approved on a very secure platform called FedRAMP. And ES Chat currently is the only cloud-based LMR PTT call control service that's approved on FedRAMP. So all the basically the federal agencies that want to interoperate with a cloud-based LMR communication tool will use ES Chat. So this is some of the ES Chat customers, and the interesting is once you're in the ES Chat cloud, you are able to create dynamic interoperable talk groups on the fly. So if you're doing mutual aid at an incident, you're able to connect different agencies together automatically and dynamically. That's a very, very strong tool. One of the reasons why the federal government likes to use it, because they like to interoperate between different agencies at an incident, whether it's DOJ and FBI at the same scene. And in the new version of ES Chat, you can also, if you're an agency, you could also become discoverable. So if you have a neighboring agency that you want to communicate with and you don't know that they're an ES Chat user, you can find yourself discoverable and create interoperable communication over the ES Chat service. So there's just different use case scenarios. This is just one of them. Just using your radio as a hotspot off your mobile device, connected over a broadband network to the ESChat cloud, and then ISSI or a gateway over to an LMR device. So we're demonstrating that today after the presentation. The other use case scenario, some of these tools, right, for maybe off-network or network communications, using routers inside of vehicles, which is an extremely popular way currently that people are using communication tools to augment their coverage on scene. So some of these routers, these Wi-Fi routers, are very powerful, and they're able to connect and give you on-scene communication to an LMR device over broadband. And then from there, you could use a router to go broadband to the ESChat cloud. Again, and if you want to go to dispatch over LMR, that gateway device is in place for you to do that. This is another way, just prisoner transport, where you're traversing multiple networks across a long distance. We have our subscriber unit, the VM8000. You can have that as your LMR primary device, and if you run out of coverage, you can route yourself over to a cellular or broadband coverage via a router. There's an Ethernet port on the back of the VM8000 mobile that will connect to a Cradlepoint or a PepLink or whatever type of broadband router that you have available. And we even have our partners at Pyramid. They've tested this over Starlink, and it works amazingly well. So those gateway devices are becoming much more prevalent. These low Earth orbit systems are becoming more prevalent and actually becoming more reliable. This is a little bit more about kind of more the highway patrol setup, where they have is a pyramid repeater in the vehicle, and they have a subscriber unit that's always talking to the pyramid repeater. And in the vehicle itself, they have a multi-deck called VM7000 Viking system that has a low-band deck, a VHF deck, a UHF deck, and a 7800 deck. And now with the VM8000, you're able to connect the Ethernet port to a back of a broadband router, and use, when you're out of LMR coverage, you're able to roam into broadband systems. And from there, you go through the ESChat cloud, again, gateway to an LMR system for dispatch. So this is one of the more clear use cases, because from the officer's perspective, they don't have to know the technology in the vehicle itself. All they're doing is hitting the PTT, and they're letting the vehicle command setup select the network that's available to them. This is just another use case scenario where sometimes in buildings they have lots of either broadband LTE or Wi-Fi coverage, and you need additional coverage. And rather than using a distributed antenna system, you could actually use the broadband coverage in the building to augment your LMR coverage if that coverage is good enough for you. So it's another use case for broadband P25 communication control. Okay, for the Atlas customers like Roseville, their setup would be using their devices connected over a broadband network, whether it's VM8000, VP8000, and then you use your gateway. The ISI gateway that we use would be the Atlas 6600 gateway to connect it to the Atlas system over the ESChat cloud. So we support that, and we support it in our own system. So. And then this is there's a lot of Motorola systems out there, and again, we specialize in communicating with Motorola systems in every way, shape, and form. And so the Motorola system would use an ISSI Critical Connect from the ESChat system to an Astro P25 trunking system, and then that would be the interface between the ES chat and the LMR system. But in many cases, we're finding that these ISSI systems are either very difficult to acquire or very expensive. So we are developing a gateway that will provide additional call control services like unit ID, emergency ID, that will rather than using an ISSI connection, you'll be able to use a gateway device that gives you better call control across ES chat and the P25 LMR system. Okay, if there's any questions, again, I'm doing demonstrations afterwards of the technology, and please feel free to come up and let me know if you have any questions and concerns. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rudy. Thank you, EF Johnson, again for covering the commercial sponsor for the December meeting. So with that, we will take about a 25-minute break. We'll reconvene at 11 for the keynote speaker with Chuck Schuler about the wildland fire communications in 2025. So thank you. Hello, everyone. All right, it's 11 o'clock. Can we have everyone get seated, and we'll start with the keynote speech shortly. Do I throw it? All right, thank you, everyone. All right, so we'll get started with the keynote presentation from Chuck Schuler talking about his experience in 2025 in wildland fire communications. So thanks again, Chuck, for being here today, and everyone enjoy.
Thanks, Carl. And yeah, who's ready for some boats, bulldozers, and fire, right? Like, it at least has to sound interesting. No, it's a pleasure to be here. Like, it's always an honor to speak in front of NAPCO. I've been a chapter member for a long time, been on the board and sergeant at arms and done some various things. So this is a really great turnout. I think it's a good sign things have come around. You know, COVID kind of changed a lot with the way we get together and meet and learn. So I think this is a really good thing. So I'm happy to be here. I've been working on this presentation. It's going to be a different version of it. It's going to be presented at the International Wireless Communications Expo. So if you're at IWC, come see that. I'm going to skip over some of the technical parts of this because of that. I'll focus a little bit more on that. More what I want to talk about today is more about people and preparedness and some of my experiences specifically with this last year in wildland fire communications. So a little bit about myself. If you don't know me, I'm a telecommunications engineer for Sacramento Regional Fire. A lot of people came out to see me today, so thank you guys for coming here to support me. I've been there since 2013, so it's right around 12 years at that institution, and 2 weeks from tomorrow I retire. So thank you. Thank you very much. Back in the day, I worked with Susie back at Folsom PD. We ran the mobile communications unit out of there, doing a lot of more law enforcement-based communications, a lot of all hazards sort of stuff. So I've been doing this for a while. I'm also on California Incident Management Team 10. That's been my big claim to fame over the summers. I'm always out working as a communications unit leader, setting up communications, mitigating incidents, and doing that sort of thing. I'm also on the Sacramento Regional Incident Management Team, which is like a smaller Type 3 team in the area. And I'm also the President CEO of Public Safety Innovation. JD and John are here supporting my company, and you'll probably see me a lot more in that role moving on into the future. So additionally, I got a couple of fire agencies up here. I'm a firefighter engineer with Herald Fire Protection District, and I'm also affiliated with River Delta Fire. So retirement is just one of those badges, goes away. And I still keep the rest of them. So I don't know how real retirement is, but that's what it's going to look like. So today, bolts, bulldozers, and fire. I really do want to talk about preparedness. My point, what I really want the takeaway today to be, is how important it is to be ready. Like, we all prepare for stuff. If you've been a line person, you know what it's like to just make sure your equipment's ready, make sure your people are ready. And I also want to encourage participation. Like, a big piece of what's going to come out of today is what a difference the dispatchers at Sacramento Regional Fire have made, and all professional dispatchers that kind of find themselves in the realm of wildland fire communications. It's one of those things where, like, there's a lot of different people that can do the job, right? It's just, they call it a radio operator. And you put somebody in that chair, it's like, okay, Trent, your job is to answer the radio. And, you know, somebody calls in and they want like 3 QBs of water up on drop point 31. You call the person who has the QBs and you tell them to take it to drop point 31. Easy job. Until something goes down. Somebody gets hurt or something happens on the line, and then it instantly changes to something totally different. And maybe Trent's not going to do a good job then, and we need a professional dispatcher. I can pick on Trent. We've been high school friends since high school. Best man at his wedding, and he promised to be best man at mine. He hasn't had to fulfill that yet, so. Okay, so, and really what kind of inspired me to put this whole presentation together at all is the Hot Shot Wake Up. If some people have listened to it, but it's a podcast This particular one is only available on his Substack subscription part of it. But he did a whole thing on this fire that I'm going to talk about. And he went into a lot of detail. For me, it was like another medical that happened on this particular incident, right? It happened, we dealt with it, and it went away. But he got a hold of the report, and he went through it, and he saw things, he just saw it from a different lens. He's a hotshot firefighter for, I think, 15 years, and now he's doing this podcast. And the surprising thing about what he did is he talked about how well it went. And specifically, he even talked about how well communications went. And I'm like, wow, like that is not very common. So I really appreciated his story. He's a great storyteller. I'm going to try to do it some justice by trying to relay that story here today, and also interleaving what we do on the fire side as far as communications, especially with dispatchers and personnel and being prepared for whatever comes up. So before I dive into it, I do want to talk about the Dutch Creek Protocol. So this young man, Andy Palmer, back in 2008, got into his first fire season. He's excited. He gets out. He goes work on the line up in Olympia, Washington, and he's up on a hill somewhere, just like a lot of this stuff happens. And tree strike, they're falling trees, breaks his leg, right? Not something that's particularly a big deal most of the time. And so they start going, okay, what do we do now? And well, let's get him down the hill and let's package him up, you know. And so they call dispatch, and they're like, hey, we got a broken leg. And everyone's like, okay, whatever, broken leg, cool. Get him down the hill, we'll throw him in a box, we'll take him to the ambulance, or take him to the hospital, and everything's gonna be fine, right? So they start moving him down on the hill, and then other medical people get involved. And then somebody's like, well, why don't we just wait for a helicopter? Because there's helicopters coming in, right? Okay, well, let's wait for the helicopters. Well, let's move down the hill. Well, I'm the higher medical authority. No, you're not. And nobody ever mentioned to dispatch, nobody called down the hill and said there was blood on the outside. And so, you know, Andy's there, and they're using their Nomex, and they're bundling him up, and they're doing what they can to stop the bleeding. And meanwhile, they're kind of moving him. They're kind of not moving him. They're waiting for the helicopter. They're not waiting for the helicopter. Well, the helicopter never came. Not right away, at least. And they canceled it. At one point, they canceled the helicopter due to lack of communication. They recall the helicopter. Anyway, they finally get him to a point where they can pull him up with a basket, right? So they drop down the basket. They pull him up. And while you're hoisting, there's not much you can do, right? The patient's just laying in the basket. You get him into the bird. And they're like, well, let's take the paramedics with us, too. We don't want to leave them behind because nobody's in the bird, so let's get them, too. So now they're messing around with the basket. Meanwhile, Andy Palmer's just chilling in the helicopter. They get in there, and they start transmitting. It's like 30 minutes to get to the hospital, and he starts going in and out of consciousness, extreme level of bleeding, and they start working him, CPR. And so they're doing CPR in the aircraft. Finally, they get a flight nurse involved, and she pronounces him dead in a helicopter, 18 years old on his first fire. And all of this traced back to a bunch of lack of communication stuff, lack of planning, and just not being ready. Like, I think it was a total of almost 4 hours from the time that he got hit by the time he died. He just bled out. And the coroner came back that he bled out. Super tragic. So what's come out of that? Like what we always do, I think in public safety, certainly in the fire service, whenever there's a tragedy, we try to learn from it and make it better. So hopefully Andy's tragedy will help prevent other instances. But this story I'm going to tell you kind of harkens to that and really reminded me of that. And when we're briefing, a lot of times when especially if we're on an incident on July 22nd, that's the day he lost his life. A lot of times somebody will get up, the incident commander or the safety, and he'll relay this story, just try to wake people up and keep them alert to what can happen. So let's talk about hotshot firefighters. The podcast guy's a hotshot. The topic of today's discussion is a young lady who's on this crew. I don't actually know her name, so we're going to call her Jess. I wouldn't give you her name anyway, of course, HEPA and all that. But she's a hotshot firefighter working on a crew, right? And so you got to keep in mind, hotshot firefighters are not like the best well-paid people in the world. And like it says on the slide, they may make like a seasoned hotshot will get 27 to 30 bucks an hour, starting at 15 to 19, and they don't work all year, right? They're going to get laid off in November. Yeah, they got the winters off. That's their big claim to fame, right? Oh, I got all this time off. But then comes around January, February, you better be training, because I mean, the city firefighters and stuff, they work hard, but if you don't train, you're not even going to pass to get on the crew, right? And there's a lot of times that we've heard of them as athletes, right? Professional athletes, and it's true. The way they work and the way they treat their body is a lot more like an athlete because it's just crazy physical ability. These people here on this image are cutting line. Pretty miserable job, actually. I've never cut a ton of line. I've cut enough line to know that I instantly start sweating, and I'm over it and about as far from me to the end of the table. But that's what they do. They'll just go up there, and they're firefighters, but mostly what they're doing is just digging a trench to stop the fire and then putting a hose in there to stop it. So it's a tough job, and a lot of men and women do it, and a lot of men and women love it. But it is a tricky job, and you're away from your family. All of us that work on the wildland fire, like you can just be plucked and end up at somewhere in the United States, and you just never even know where. A tough job. So their crew, Jess's crew, ends up on the Green Fire up in Lake Shasta. And so this is kind of a not very great map of it, but it's on the Shasta Trinity National Forest right around Lake Shasta. And that's like an important part of this story because I've been on a lot of fires. I've just never been one that close to a lake. And it really presented a lot of challenges. So the fire's kind of burning up in here, which made this whole peninsula pretty inaccessible by land. So we had boats. We'll show you some boat pictures in the future. But they were actually boating crews in. They would bring crews in by boats. They would drop them off. They'd go suppress fire. If they got injured, we'd have to go extract them with boats. It created communications challenges because they put it in the deep ravine, these lakes, because that's a good place for them. But that means the terrain is super steep. And even though there's repeaters everywhere, we still had some really severe communications challenges. So this is what we have to work with. This particular fire, the Green Fire, this crew is going to be assigned up on this upper area here. They're cutting hand line, trying to stop this fire from going because it's headed towards homes. There's people, it's in the middle of summer. People are boating, wanting their vacation time. People up there see so much smoke, they don't care. We want to be in our vacation homes. So there's a lot of stuff going on up there, right? A lot of reasons to stop the fires. So they go to briefing. So they show up at the fire, and they get up in the morning. They'll probably get up at 4:30, I would say, and they're going to go brush their teeth, get their crew together, go to supply, pick up whatever they need for the day, grab a lunch, grab some breakfast. Crew guys are going to go to a briefing and get all set up. They're going to go get their radios cloned. I have to bring up radio cloning. And so they're going to go get their radios cloned, and they're going to get all ready to do you see Mike McKenzie in that photo? Is anybody? Chief Coutinho? And they're going to go up this hill, right? So they're all ready. They get all their gear, and they're carrying a lot of gear, right? Typically at least 3 gallons of water, their tools, all kinds of packs, and everything else. And they're getting ready to go up the hill. And in this particular case, since we're talking radio, I will point out, when my guys program radios, and when I say my guys, I mean Mike, programs all these radios, he's doing like your portable radios. Like you'll come into a fire, and you show up with your radio. I'm going to borrow a radio for a prop. And I'd like to thank these guys for donating a radio to the keynote speaker for today, so that was really nice. So that you'll take your radio and you're like, oh, hey, I need the incident frequencies, and I'll give it to Mike, and Mike will bippity-boppity boop it and give it back. I'll show up on my rig, and maybe we'll program a mobile for sometimes. Base radios, boats, helicopters, like everybody's got to have these frequencies, right? I'll just leave this right here. Here we go. Anyway, it's a big deal. Getting everybody programmed up. Okay, there's my communications. So the assignment, they're assigned to Division Mike, right? This crew. So they get all packed up. They drive up the hill. And just like it says, resources were directed to construct an indirect hand line, just like the picture we saw before, along Rip Gut Ridge. And the podcast guy, he goes all about Rip Gut and what that word means, because the steepness of this terrain, and that is an actual picture from Rip Gut Ridge, and how they got up there. And so the mile-long hike was extremely strenuous with an elevation gain of 1,200 feet in a 100-degree temperature. And I'll tell you what, if a hotshot anybody says it was extremely strenuous, it was way more extremely strenuous than we can imagine. So this was a section of it that they ran an 1.5-inch wildland hose up there, and they were climbing the hose to get up there. So this isn't just like walking around in the boonies. This is what kind of terrain that Jess and her crew had been hiking up. And like it says, it was too steep for any UTVs. There's no equipment up there, right? They're just hiking up there to do their thing. So during this smoke-filled and strenuous day of hiking, a firefighter sat down. So she sat down, she was wiping the sweat, whatever she was doing, just taking a break, right? They needed a break. And so her friend, her other crew member, set his tool against the tree right next to her. Now, I don't know what the tool was. I'm assuming it was a Pulaski, which is this, or some other firefighting tool. But he sets his tool right there, and the tool just kind of falls off the tree and hits her in the head. So tool strike to the head. And so immediately, crew, hey, you guys okay? You're okay, you know? And she's like, no, I'm fine. Typical hot shot. I'm good. Rub some dirt in it, and let's keep going. And so like, all right. They didn't call anybody in. They're just like, oh, cool. We got hit in the head. Big deal. Let's keep going. So they start humping, and they start going up the hill, and pretty soon she starts going downhill. But first of all, let's talk about who's up there, right? Like, what do we do now? After the Dutch Creek Protocol, what do we do to protect our firefighters? What do we do to protect our people? So we've got fireline EMTs. We got fireline paramedics. And what we'll do with them is they're scattered all over the fire. So I mentioned these guys were on Division M. Mike. We'll say, okay, you two medics, you stay on this division. Anything happens, you take care of them. We have these REMS team, which is a rapid extraction module, which will be a whole pickup truck with 4 or 5 guys in it, with all this equipment and ropes and gurneys and all kinds of ways to rescue people, pulleys and whatever. And they're just driving around. And they're looking for anything to do. That's their only job, is to pull firefighters out. We have safety officers. And the safety position on a fire is specifically just to watch out. They don't really have any other job. They're like looking to see if Trent's using his tools properly, or Tad's got his gloves on, or Mike's got his sleeves rolled up on his Nomex, right? Like that's their job. There's all these people out there specifically trying to protect firefighters. And ultimately, wherever you're working, there's a division supervisor, right? And that's his division, and he needs to know where his teams are and everything. So all these people are up there. But ultimately, somebody needs to take charge, and somebody's eventually need to call for help. And calling for help sucks. Like, you're up there, you're managing your own thing. Firefighters do that all the time, right? We just take care of business. But at some point, somebody's going to have to pick up their donated radio and say, I need help. Green Communications, Division Mike, we've got a strike to the head. And somebody's got to do that. And as soon as they do that, everything's going to change. Down at the ICP, there's the communications people are going to take it, and just like I mentioned before, like all this, oh yeah, I need fuel up at drop point 5. I got a flat tire out here on the highway. All that goes away, and we're dealing with a human life. So the call for help goes out, because after 5 minutes trying to, or after she kept hiking up the hill, she starts vomiting and severe head pain, severe headache, right? Things are going downhill fast, and that was within 3/8 of a mile, just a few minutes up the road. And keep in mind, if there is cell phone reception in these remote locations, which there often isn't, there probably was here since it was around a lake. But who are you going to call? You're going to call 911, and they're going to be like, "What's the address of your emergency?" They taught me that. What's the address of your emergency? And you're like, Ripgut Ridge. Okay, great. Or drop point 5, or M1, or any number of things, or maybe it's some slang term for wherever they're at. And even if they know, you give them GPS, what are they going to do? They can't call. So the communications unit that we set up at that incident is really the lifeline. Really the lifeline for what they have to go to. And like I said before, once the call is made, the team is activated. So at 12:49, yellow IWI. So incident within an incident, IWI. There's green, yellow, and red. Sometimes greens aren't even reported. I got a bee sting. Can be serious if it goes anaphylactic. Yellow is we need to transport. It's urgent, but not super urgent, right? She's vomiting, headache. It could be heat exhaustion. Like, who knows? We should probably get her off the hill, right? Okay. So here, let's talk about what's going on behind the scenes. That was at 12:49, right? So not to turn this into an ICS class, but here's basic incident management team structure, right? You guys can all follow up on ICS 100 and 200, please do. But just to kind of show a handful of people that will show up on this, right? So an emergency's been declared, and we've got everybody's attention. Of course, you got the IC, but he's got people for this. So ultimately, the safety officer is the one right under the IC. He is the one that is his or her job to handle this situation. So he's going to show up and say, hey, I need to be in the communications unit, and I need to run this thing. And then operations, right? They're the ones out fighting the fire, and they're the ones that sent that crew out there. That's my crew. I want to be there. So they want to be there. And then Air Ops shows up. It's like, well, if you want a helicopter, you better use us. So now that person's in there. And then, of course, the communications people are in there. There's going to be a bunch of medical people that want to be in there. The finance is going to start walking in and say, oh, is it a comp claim issue? It's too many people, right? And it could quickly overwhelm a normal human. Fortunately, I had superhero dispatchers at this particular incident. And then that little communications nugget, when it gets down to us, this is our unit, right? So there's still another 10 or 15 people under communications. And so there's a lot of people out there, right? Like an incident management team will show up with like 100 people. Our base team is 100 people. And as soon as we get there, we started ordering more. And it can easily get up to 200 or 300 people, just the team. That's not the team that goes out and fight the fire. That's just the support one. So medical takes care of medical and everything else. So the idea is to kick everybody out and get them out of our hair. This is typically what we're working with, not the fanciest dispatch center in the world. This happens to be the rig that we had on this incident. And this is where I like to talk a little bit about making sure your equipment's functional. We probably should have demobbed this thing as soon as it showed up, right? Like, it's not pretty, it's not elegant. Like those big square holes up top, they would pull those out and they'd stuff an window air conditioner in there, and okay, whatever. But the problem is we parked this thing out in the hill, out in the field. There's no mast on it, nothing else. They put an antenna up, which is just mobile antennas on the roof, probably on a piece of metal that's way too small. And okay, give us communications on some janky old Bendix King radio. Not the Bendix King radios are janky, but this old one. And they're like, here's what you got. And then they got some high school kid in there who's never even seen the rig, but got this job for the summer. And he has to call on the phone to his dad or whoever else is on the other side and say, how do I fix it? So this particular rig, we parked it there, and then they started setting up camp around it. And the radios worked okay at first. And then we put some tents up with some air conditioners and some generators. And then we put some trailers up with some air conditioners and some generators and some more tents and some more trailers. And every one we put up, the radio just got worse and worse and worse and worse with interference. Probably VHF, because it's all VHF, right? And so any power supply or anything would be causing it. And we chased this. I had PSC guys were out there with their service monitors trying to track it down. The Forest Service techs were trying to track it down. We told the kid, you need to ground your unit. Yeah, I've got a ground rod. I'm going to ground my unit. I'm like, cool, ground it. So he pounds the rod in, and he's like, dude, sir, I'm done. I'm done. And so I went out and looked, and sure enough, he drove a ground rod right into the trailer and attached it to the first bolt that he found. Does anybody see a lug nut coming up? Literally attached it to lug nuts. So anyway, special conductive grease in those bearings, I guess. I don't know. All right. So equipment has to work. Documentation, we do the best we can. We put up these posters, and this isn't for this particular incident, but this is what we throw on the wall. We put on some dry erase markers, and they start writing down, like, what's going to go on? Like, who's in charge of the incident? Where's it at? Who do we need to send? What were the vitals? Like, we live this, like, this is it. Like, you think it's some exotic, all digital everything, and the only reason we weren't exclusively tied to this is because we have professional dispatchers there that prefer to use computers and could handle it and can type fast enough to keep it going. But really, that's kind of what we deal with. This is where we jam all of our, I love, our IC calls them this, the curious non-producers. And you got to figure, like, anybody that's on an incident management team probably has a lot of bugles, a lot of bars, a lot of stars, something. Like, they've been there and done that. They're used to being in charge, and they want to control things. They want to take their type A a lot of times, and they want to take care of things. But we don't need them in the comm unit. Talking over the top. I learned this when I first came to Rock Regional Fire. And I come bombing in the dispatch center. It's like, no, when you walk in the dispatch center, you are officially a church mouse, and you better not be louder than one, or Tara will let you know. So, but that's not the case. These guys come in, we're in charge, and they're trying to talk, and these poor dispatchers are trying to, oh, did I hear the GPS coordinates? Because there's no recording, right? There's no way to chase any of this stuff down. It gets set over the air, and if you don't catch it the first time, you might not get it. So we set up these tents, and we set up these monitors like this, and now the dispatchers are typing. They're doing a Google sheet, and we can project it up there so they can see what's going on, and they can all sit in a room and observe. Cool. Then that's like a more recent protocol. That's something fairly recent. Jeff, you guys do that, right? Okay, cool. All right, and then I'm going to skip over the, yeah, I'm going to skip over this a little bit. But the point of this, which I'll probably get more deep into at IWC, is the radio system, right? Like, and I know we've talked about it before in this group, but there's a radio system. That's the Shasta County or Shasta Forest radio system. There's repeaters everywhere. But one, they don't cover everything. And two, they've got like 2 dispatchers covering 2.2 million acres. It's summer. They're already busy. They don't have the capacity to stack on another 3,000 firefighters onto their radio channel. And they're like, get off. And that's one of the biggest things we do is stand up a whole communication system and design it and do all this stuff and try to make our temporary little radio system that we're going to set up with duct tape and baling wire on these weird locations, and we're going to try to make these systems cover what was already there and hopefully do a little better. And it's all battery powered and solar powered, and hopefully everything survives long enough to mitigate this incident. One unique thing that I do want to bring up about this, we talked about boats, right? So there was one of those, there's that finger of the lake that I showed you that was kind of caught in by fire. We really needed that for a repeater site. But there was no way to get across the lake, right? There was no way to get to it driving. So fortunately, our hero, Mike McKenzie in this story, selflessly took on the boat mission, as scary as it must have been. Anyway, so this landing craft, this is an actual landing craft, the UTV in the landing craft, they put the repeater in the UTV, floated across the river, dropped the gate, the heroes drive their UTV out of there, drive up the hill, plant the repeater, and come back. And then complain to me that it was a rough day. Anyway, that's a good, so it's one of the most unique things as far as installing a repeater, so it was pretty cool. All right, back to our story. So the calls come in. Dan, who's here today, and Yvonne have jumped up. They received the call for help. They're trying to focus on gathering all the information, calling the local ECC, getting helicopters, because we need helicopters. So they got the birds in the way. They've called the local ambulance. They're doing everything they need to do, and they're focusing and capturing everything. And this is an example of the radio log, because as they're typing, like in black, there's all this like, I need fuel, I need QBs, I need all this, and then as soon as the incident hits, the medical, we type it all in red, right? Easy to pull out. So that's really how things get tracked. Nothing fancier than that. No big fancy CAD systems. U.S. Forest Service. Okay, so they're typing away, and then it comes in. You know, they're doing their assessment, blunt head trauma, vomiting, and she's kind of alert, but she's going in and out of consciousness, right? So we know their aircrafts are on the way, ambulances are on their way, medical people are showing up now, like those medical guys that I told you are out there running around, and you're looking up in the ICP. The important thing of that, we're at ICP. Kind of, sort of at the incident. We look up, like, yeah, it looks pretty clear from where we're at. And so they'd started an IV, but at 13:01, whoever's on scene decides it's a red. And I think that's justifiable, right? She's losing consciousness. She's up on a mountain, possibly a long ways from help. And so they upgrade it to red, right? Which means we're just going to move just a little bit faster to try to get down off the hill. So this is kind of like where it happened. And so she's just above this. M2 is an actual sling site. Like the sling is where you can bring stuff in a helicopter and drop it. You can't land necessarily, but you can drop a sling in there, which means you can pull a basket or anything else. It's been prepped. M2's been prepped. So they put her in this mega mover, which is this big tarp with some handles on it. Not the actual picture, but that's how they carry a patient with a mega mover. And they're working her down to M2, right? They're, okay, she's in and out of consciousness. We got a bottle on her, and we're getting down the hill. A bag on her. And meanwhile, the REMS team is trying to come in from the top, right? They're trying to get to M4, and they get up there, and then they prepare for an ascent. Like before, called a hike, but once these guys get there, it's an ascent to get up that crazy hill and somehow get up there from M4 to M1 to help her. And as they go up that hill, they're dropping members off. Like they've gathered a bunch of people by now, right? They're leaving firefighters along this hill just in case they need to, like the whatever reason, right? So they're moving her, trying to get her down the hill. Because what the biggest thing is coming up right now, and it's happening down in our comm unit, what do we do? Like, what do we tell the field units? Do we say, stay there? The helicopter's coming. It's a few minutes out, right? Stay there or move. And that's the trick, right? Like, what are we really going to do with this patient. And the people on scene decide to keep moving. And at 13:17, they hear that the helicopters can't land. And M2 or everyone, they've flown over, they've somehow determined there's too much smoke, that there's too many trees, we can't land. So the ambulance helicopters that wanted to land can't. We still have a hoist. We can still hoist. There's 2 ways to hoist, right? We can do what we call a short haul, which is when we pick the patient up and fly them over to the ambulance, drop them at the ground ambulance, and let them go. Or we can actually hoist them long haul, which is you get them into the bird and take them out. So we still got that, right? But we got to be close to somewhere where it can actually happen. So at 13:17, they're like, we're going to keep going, right? It's 15 minutes away. We're going to keep dragging her down there. And then at M1, when things get super steep, right? So they're just going to keep moving. Let's do it. I will talk to this later when at IWCE, but we're going to skip over ROIP gateways. I use JPS, thanks to Iggy, and there's a lot of cool stuff going on, ESChat, Zello, and different things in the fire service that give us some capabilities. So come check us out at IWCE, and we'll talk about that. So 13:44, the patient arrives at M1. She's still alert, but the helicopters encounter smoke, but they're only 2 minutes out, right? 2 minutes out. Let's just wait for the helicopter. Crew looks up, sees 75 feet of visibility. Is hoist still possible? Nobody knows, right? So the crew decides to keep moving. Like, let's just keep going down the hill. And it was really weird to be behind the scenes. Like, I tried to keep our dispatchers isolated from the drama, but in the little drama room, which is right outside where they're in there trying to capture the information, there's a fight going on between, like, safety and the operations that are like, get her down the hill, wait for the helicopter. Get her down the hill, wait for a helicopter. And it's really ridiculous. Like, so I try to keep that drama from getting into there, because somebody's life is going to be decided in this janky trailer in this field by whatever these people decide, or ultimately how it should be decided, who's up on the hill. We have to trust our people in the field, and that's something we struggle with a lot down in camp, is trying to overthink who's up on the hill. Still no ETA for the helicopter. So they start moving her down that crazy-ass hill, right? And they're doing this thing called the leapfrog litter carry. At sometimes, if you have enough people, you can do this, right? You got your patient coming down, you kind of pass them hand to hand to hand, and when you're done, you run down to the end, and then you keep going, right? And so if you're on really rugged terrain, you can just kind of brace yourself, as opposed to trying to carry down, and you just kind of pass her down the thing. So they do what they can with that. And then the REMS team has finally gotten up there, and they bring the rope out, and they've got her in this sked, right? Now they've got this plastic gurney, right? The litter that they're using, and she's strapped into that, and they do what they call a meat anchor, which is you're anchoring to meat, which is human, and their words, not mine. And so up here, there's 2 firefighters that they're doing a belay, right? And they're just holding this thing, and they're just skidding her down the hill as best they can, right? Just every little bit of a time, as long as the ropes can reach, they're trying to get her down off the hill. All right. I really want to talk about the comm unit. I really want to talk about the people in the comm unit. Specifically, they choose to be there, right? Like, everybody could be at home unit. Firefighters could be in their home unit. Everybody could be home working an overtime shift or just doing whatever. But these are people that chose to be out there. Like, maybe they're having to sleep on the ground. Maybe they have showers. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're eating MREs. Nobody really knows until you get on site, right? And so they don't have to be there. They're giving up their vacations. Their agencies are giving up a lot because there's a bunch of overtime that gets created, and somebody's got to cover that. Their families have to adjust to it. They'll get stuck on night shift. And what I try to tell everybody when we first show, especially at the start of the incident, is like, get ready for chaos. Like, I don't mean like your day-to-day chaos. I mean like you're going to jump there this today and then jump over here and then jump over here and do this, do that, do this, that. True or not? Chaos? Chaos. All right. So everything's changing. We don't even know where camp's going to be, and they're just dealing with a lot. So it is an amazing experience. They bring a lot back to their agency and just the working together. This meeting is working together, and this is a difference in any career. So if you're interested, get a salary survey into Cal OES. Figure out how to get your people into IROC is my suggestion to that. All right, so what is that? 1426. Patient's kind of stabilized, right? So that she's been on a bag for a while. She's taken an IV. She's doing better. And the dozer has showed up and said, well, I can take her down the hill. And these guys are kind of tired of carrying her, so Somehow, she crawls into the cab of that dozer and heads down that hill. And gets it, first time ever I've ever heard of a dozer ambulance response. And so they drag her down the hill and get her down to the bottom where she can actually transfer to an ambulance, right? And then, so what are we at? 14:44. So that we're like almost two and three quarters, almost 3 hours into this incident. She's finally been drugged down a hill, bounced along a plastic box, and put into a dozer, and she's finally down. And it's not till 4:30 that she finally gets at the hospital and is evaluated and is finally released. So this particular story ended well. I mean, it's like the same time limit that happened in the first one, the Dutch Creek Protocol, but when people were losing consciousness, if she hadn't got that IV when she did, or maybe if she hadn't got down the hill, things could have been very different. So back to preparedness. I like to talk about being prepared. We're going to start with equipment. It's really important. This is, I think we might recognize somebody in this video. Where's Mike at? I told you. So that's Mike's brand new trailer, expertly built by Public Safety Innovation, I must say. And but the important thing is, in all these vehicles and all your equipment and whatever it is, like in the fire service, we're checking our rigs every shift after every run, supposed to. But these comm units, they just sit way too much. Like Susie and I ran one out of Folsom, and we kept it up during our tenure, but then it hands off to other people, and they're just not ready. And what I learned is, like, we had amazing capabilities in our mobile command vehicle. We got it way back when, and we had a ton of capabilities. But if the lieutenant or the sergeant or captain or chief or whoever doesn't believe in it and trust it, and I totally get it, I don't blame them, they're not going to use it. You're like, hey, I can patch these people together. I can use this whiz-bang box that I just got from JPS or whoever else and patch things together. But if it doesn't work, if they haven't seen it work, and if they're not confident you can get it to work, it may as well not even be there, right? It just may, then you're justified having a toilet, because that's probably what it's going to be used for. So I like to throw in the rally. I think the Mobile Command Center rally, hopefully that comes up this next year. That's a good way to do it too. But your people, this is my communications crew from the Green Fire, at least the regional fire people over there. Dan doesn't like to be in photos. But then he kind of felt bad that he wasn't in the photo. So he photoshopped himself in there. Not quite to scale. Kind of a little creepy, honestly. So the important thing is to seek out training opportunities. This is a great opportunity if you're at all in a position where you can get your dispatchers out there and let them participate in a program like this. We just started ours a couple years ago, and it's been amazingly successful. The people that want to do it are really excited. They've gone out and taken the initiative to get their own training and figure out where they need to be in the system and to get out there. And then when they do go out, the people that are in the program, if they see overtime pop up because it was incurred by somebody else on the team, they will take it, right? The whole point is we're trying to really foster this group of people that go out and do these things, because when these dispatchers show up, and it shows up here, it shows up I've been on so many incidents, not a lot with professional dispatchers, but the ones that do, I'll be on an incident and somebody will come in and they're like, Chuck, who's on the radio? Because it's like, it's just, they're on it, right? They just know the language to use. Even if they don't know the language necessarily, because they'll say a bunch of stuff out there like pumpkins and other things, you're like, what? They got dispatcher ears. They listen to multiple things at once. They can listen to multiple radio channels. And it's just not a skill we're going to train and do while we're out there, right? So I call them superhero dispatchers, and it's true. Like, they really make everything much better when they're out there. So I know Cody Kerwin, who used to be a chapter president, he rosters dispatchers. I'm working on doing it. It's a really important thing. And I know it's hard when you don't have staffing and everything else, but I really think that this is a model that you can use to bolster your dispatch center, right? Like, if you have a program like this and you give people the opportunity to go out, maybe some money, do something exciting, get out, see what's going on out there, I think it is a win-win situation. If at all, you can handle the staffing of it. So it's a really good thing. So get your people into IROC, and if you're a dispatcher or somebody interested, see if you can encourage your agency to participate, because usually there's some fire department that you can tie on with or get yourself in there. There's ways of doing it. Talk to Cal OES. Make it happen. And finally, teams. I like this particular, I don't know if this thing has a lot to do with teams, but we were trying to talk about the fire line. I think that was the boundary of the fire line, and the Snickers bars were repeaters. And we're trying to like figure out how we can get to the repeater sites based on this boat. I don't know what. But it's just kind of funny how things end up on assignments. But yeah, train together. Like whenever you get the opportunity. Susie and I got to do that all the time. When we work with other agencies, we come into Sac County. We'd work with the state of California. At the time, our unit, our mobile command center was like super new. And we got to do all kinds of things. But it makes such a huge difference. The connections you make and the people you know, and just learning how other people do things. So I strongly suggest training together. And train like lives are on the line, right? Which they always are. And we were doing the air show once. And I was running around like a crazy person, being ADHD or whatever I was doing, trying to make 50 million things work on the communication side, getting ready for this air show. And this major stopped me. Hey, Chuck. I guess that's how people talk to me. Maybe that's just how I hear them. Chuck, you work for us. We give you a medal. You fight like you train. And so that's always stuck with me. You fight like you train. And it's totally true. So if you lackadaisically prepare for stuff and you just kind of, oh yeah, I got this. Like we learn that in the fire service all the time. You got to move with intention, right? Like if you're going to pick up that hose and move, pick it up and move. Get it going and know what to do. Know what size fittings you're going to use. Know your medical equipment. Know your dispatch head. Know if your audio's working. Like we used to find that all the time. Like I don't know if anybody's got a mobile command center with bad audio. Like it's chronic. You got a Windows computer you're working with. Just train, use your equipment. Work with other teams. Find out what everybody's doing. And if you can, standardize. Just an easy thing to toss out, right? Like we talk about it with P25. Sometimes that works. Some manufacturers have nuances that don't let them interoperate just the same way. But try to standardize your operations. Like when we go out incident management teams, each one's different. They shouldn't be, but they are, right? We try. We're trying to do better. And do your after-action reviews. Like that's the most important thing, right? Just learn from your mistakes. Like we're all going to make mistakes. Now that I've become a firefighter, I realized that it happens a lot. I asked my chief once, I'm like, Chief, when is it that I stop making mistakes? He's like, never. I'm like, oh, great. I'm like, I'll try not to make the same one twice, but there's always something new, right? All right, so in the end, the after action that came out of this particular incident came up with this, and it said, and this is right out of I took it out of the report. They did a big report after this. They wanted to know lessons learned. They said, radar operators within the incident communications unit were experienced 911 dispatchers, which significantly improved radio communications and the ability to relay information with common terminology. And they continued on, radio discipline is paramount when an IWI occurs. Communications with air and ground resources seem to be lost with too much radio traffic. And it happens, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like if you've ever been on a fire incident, you wonder why the battalion chief isn't talking back to you. He's listening to 4 different channels, but he's not a dispatcher. He's trying to just figure out as he goes. So I know I've been hitting it pretty hard, the superhero dispatchers that have been out there, but I've been really blessed to have them out there working with me, and I'm really happy to see them move out there. And I think it is something that any dispatcher center could benefit from. So be prepared. That's me learning how to be prepared when I was very young, learning my Eagle Scout. And then just a bonus slide because Trent's here. So I was best man at Trent's wedding, and it was back in, what year? 97? 97? Dang, that's very successful. He's a relationship king. All right, so thank you, everybody, for letting me speak. I'm not sure if I ended too quick before lunch, but I'm happy to answer any questions about anything. So just let me know. And please, if you're interested in getting your dispatchers out, talk to me, talk to Cal OES. There is a way to do it. We're doing it, and hopefully we just continue to get stronger and keep going. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chuck. Any questions for Chuck? We do have a little bit of time. Otherwise, you can do them one-on-one. All right, that was a good reminder that we do have, like Anna mentioned, the awards banquet coming up in May, but nominations will be open soon. So if we have stories similar to what Chuck relayed, or even that very one, please nominate. It's there for not only recognition for those that did a good job at helping to set the example for what's great in our public safety community. All right, so I think with that, we will move into Susie will announce the voting results, and then we'll call all of the chapter officers up, and Steve will help guide us through the oath of office prior to lunch.
I've known Chuck for a long time, and I've never seen him with a mustache. Wow. Apparently. All right, so I do have the results of the voting. And so when I call your name, if you could please line up here to my left, and then we'll have the swearing in after that. So, and also these are the ones that it's either a natural progression into the position or current position that they hold, and then those that were voted on. So president is Mike. And then the president-elect was a yes for Anna. And then the vice president, you all voted for Mandy Montalvo. The treasurer is Jackie Andrews. She's not here, obviously. Secretary, Carl Grover. The PIO webmaster, and also you elected Jim Lencioni to the executive council. Sergeant at Arms is Michael Elder. Frequency coordinator is John Lemon. He's not here today. And we have Michael Proscia. Commercial is Manny and Dave Jones. Historian is Brenda Bruner. And then the directors. You voted for Larry. He's not here. Cassandra McCants-Devers. Did I get that right? Yes. All right. Michelle Elmore, she is not here. And then you also voted for Kirk Geary to fill a director position. Okay. Ready for a swearing in.
All right, thank you. All right, well, it's my pleasure to do the oath of office for all these people representing you guys. So if you guys want to raise your right hand. You've been duly elected to the office which you're about to enter by vote of the NAPCO chapter quorum here assembled. By vote, the quorum will invest in you the power of the NAPCO chapter of APCO. It bestows upon you its confidence, trust, and places in your hands the duties of your office as written in the Constitution of this chapter. Do you, under God, under country, and before these witnesses here assembled, each and every one of you hereby accept this power, this responsibility, this confidence, this trust, this establishment of duties, and solemnly swear to uphold, protect, and execute to the best of your abilities the aims and objectives of the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials International. Well, we'll do one at a time.
Yes, I do.
Are we a yes or are we an I do? Yes.
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
And yes, I do.
I do.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
All righty, thank you. And I want to thank E.F. Johnson, Kenwood, and Chuck for coming today and presenting to everybody. And as my first official act, lunch is ready.